Are you a business owner or employee who needs to network but is terrified of walking into a room full of people you don't know? Are you afraid of being left out of conversations or being awkward in the conversations you do have? Your tour guide, Faithann, is here to walk alongside you through the networking terrain, offering tips and tricks to network with ease. Grab your sunscreen and suitcase. Faithann is ready. Are you?
Welcome to this episode of the Networkers Tour Guide podcast, where you can get your networking questions answered one episode at a time. I'm your host, Faith Ann, coming back from a little bit of a hiatus. So we've had a couple of weeks off, and who better to welcome us back into the swing of things with the podcast than my guest today, Sybil Hale. Sybil, thank you so much for saying yes to coming onto the podcast.
My pleasure. Thank you, Faith Ann, for having me. I feel very honored. So thank you.
You are a networking queen in the Oklahoma City area, and we're going to talk about everything that you have done for our community in Oklahoma City. First, though, let's talk a little bit about your businesses. You have a business called Pros Make Ready. Why don't you tell the listeners what you do in that business?
So it is in the sanitizing, disinfecting, air quality control platform. So what we do is we knock sickness down up to 88%. Nobody has time to be sick nor wants to be sick, right? We don't have time for it. So therefore, what we do is we come in and we knock it all out with electrostatic fogging. And what that does is it causes the product to wrap around everything so it gets every nook and cranny. Therefore, you have no germs, viruses, allergens, odors, mold, mildew, anything left that makes us sick. It's not sterile, but it's sanitized.
Yeah, and that's a great benefit for, I would imagine, daycares. You probably help daycares out a lot. And in fact, I remember at one of your networking meetings, which we're going to talk about, there was a grandma there who said, at my grandson's daycare, I'm the person they call, not the mother, but it's me they call when the grandson gets sick. And after Pros Make Ready went in there and sanitized the daycare, they are calling me a lot less, and it's making me so happy. And I was like, oh, that's a great testimonial for Pros Make Ready.
Actually, the daycare that she goes to, or her grandson goes to, was our very first daycare that we picked up back in January of 20, pre-COVID.
Wow.
And the girl that owns it, I know her personally, and she was like, "We'll give you a year and see what it does." We didn't know COVID was coming.
Mm, yeah.
What perfect timing. And we've been with them for now 6 years.
That is so amazing. How often do you go in to, like, let's say a daycare?
It totally depends. With them, we started weekly and we dropped to every 2 weeks, but we never went any longer than that. But they have 80 to 100 students. So that's a lot of little ones, and that's just a really good place for lots of germs. So we need to be in there every couple of weeks. Depends on the traffic, really, in your space as to how often we come.
Okay. And then you have an amazing networking organization that is part of Premium OKC Networking called Mix and Mingle. You have done some great work in making networking accessible for the new business owners, for established business owners and connectors in the Oklahoma City metro. And you could probably tell us quickly how that started, because it's such an interesting story of how Mix and Mingle business networking started.
Yes. Well, 100% not my idea. I give God all the credit. He's the founder. He was the one that implanted the idea. But how it started was I had a friend, Rebecca Trimble, and I'd like to throw the names in here because I feel like credit should be given to who it should be given to. I don't take the credit. I take the credit for what I do, but if it's somebody else, I think they deserve the credit. So Rebecca Trimble used to work for Alert 360, and she had reached out and said, "Hey, I want to start a networking group teaching people how to network. Would you do it with me?" I was like, "Man, I would love to." But I had just started my Pros Make Ready about a year and a half before that. And I was like, I have to focus here, but I'll do anything you need me to do that doesn't require a commitment. Okay. So I connected her with Joan Curtis of MVP Insurance in Oklahoma City. I said, together, you guys will come up with something. They came up with OK Connect. So I go to their first meeting, and at the end of the meeting, the call out was to all of us in the room set up a lunch with 2 or 3 people. I set up a lunch with 2 or 3 people, but I got to looking around the room, and mind you, I'm a networker, I'm everywhere I go. I know a few people, and I knew everybody in the room. There was 39 people. So I just started saying, "Hey, we're gonna go over to Whip Bakery Cafe," which is a little mom and pop in Bethany, War Acres area, "and we're gonna have our lunch. You're welcome to join us." We had 38 people show up. 38 people! Go figure, right?
Hmm.
So I was blown away. Bunny hop back just a tidbit. I was doing some multi-level marketing, and with multi-level marketing, you almost have to beg, plead, and borrow to get anybody to come, right? So I was truly emotionally, wow, what is this? When 38 people showed up, I was just blown away. Number one, we all came to buy lunch. What did we do for that mom and pop that day? Blew it out of the water for them, right? So we're all in the back room, and it's like, there's way too much power in this room. We have to do something with it. So that's what made me step up. It wasn't that I planned to do this. It was just we had so many great people in the room. It's like, you have to capture in on this moment. We got to do something with this. So it was one of those things. It was like, there's so much power in this room, guys. Let's go around and do a 1 minute. Who are you? What do you do? What are you looking for? After everybody did that, they're like, "Are you gonna do it again?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't know. Would you come?" They're like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Okay." They're like, "How about next week?" I'm like, "No, no, no, no." If we do anything at all, this will be once a month. And that was the beginning of Mix and Mingle Business Networking Organization. That was March 18th of 21.
And I remember being in that room, and I remember
You
them
were.
saying, "Let's do it weekly." And I remember you saying, "No, we're not doing this weekly."
No
Yeah,
way.
yeah. And we connected at a professional moms thing about what, maybe 6 months earlier or something.
Somewhere in that area?
Yeah,
Yes.
and
Networking works.
it does. It really does. It creates opportunities that you
Yes.
you can't singly by yourself create. It's just you can't be everywhere. So when you have little detectives, is what I teach. These are your detectives going out looking for clues for you. So the more clear you can be about who you're looking for, the easier it's going to be for others to know when they're standing in the middle of a referral for you.
And I'm so grateful for you doing the Networkers Tour Guide because you are such a great connection for all the people that come to Mix and Mingle Business Networking Organization. We have lots of baby businesses, right? And I love that. That is my heart. I want to help everybody, but
Hmm.
I'm a small business owner. I didn't know what I was doing when I started. I didn't have any direction. And so I love the fact that when people come into Mix and Mingle, they get to pick from this vast community because we have such a diverse crowd. We have everything under the sun here. We have tradespeople, we have attorneys, we have housekeeping, we have landscaping, we have bankers, we have it all. And I love the fact that a lot of times those babies don't have a clue how to speak. And that's where you come in. And you're such a great referral partner for them to learn, how do I do an effective 30-second to 1 minute introduction, right? I love it. And I'm so grateful that you are in my network of people.
Oh, thank you, Sybil. I mean, and I right back at you, because the barrier to networking is not there with Mix and Mingle. And that's why, when I'm showing my calendar, Premium OKC Networking, I can just say, hey, Mix and Mingle would be a great opportunity for you because of how it's structured. So let's talk a little bit about how you have structured Mix and Mingle once you realized that it became a thing. How many chapters and how does it work?
So, right now we have 15 chapters all over the Oklahoma City metro area, and it is open networking. So, you come if you want to come, don't come if you don't. There's never no pressure. We don't track anything. There's so many great groups out there that do so many different things. We want to be different. So we don't track it. You just come if you want to come. We range between 20 and 70 business professionals at every one of our events, and there's 15 throughout the city. with 25% of those people that come are brand new every meeting.
Mm.
So it is always fresh, new, evolving. It's just really, really great. One of our core values is collaboration over competition. We want multiple of every industry in the room. And it becomes so much fun too, because we've had as many as like 6 real estate agents or insurance agents. And it's like, yep, I'm another insurance agent, but my focus is this, even though all of them do maybe the same thing. But because this one said that, you wanna say something a little different, and then hopefully they're gonna holler at you to use you. But it also ups your game, right? So if there's a multiple of what you do, well, I wanna do better than I would if it was just me necessarily. It just makes you be better, and I think most of us are wanting to always be better and get better.
Right. That's a great core value, and that is one of the things that, as a leader, because I lead one of your chapters, we'd say at the beginning of the meeting the core values, and that one I'd love to say collaboration over competition. And I have previous episodes about the race to positive interactions. So instead of thinking there's another roofer here now, it needs to be more difficult, but the interactions that you are going to have as roofer A are not going to be duplicated with the interactions that roofer B is going to have. And so we're just, how many positive interactions can we have to establish trust, and how clear can we be helping people understand when they're standing in the middle of a referral for you? And sometimes it's not always the obvious, but if we can educate others on 2 or 3 steps before we're needed, then we can help people plant seeds. And I've had so many roofers stand up and say, I can help anyone with a roof. But
Mhm.
then what does that do for the people in the room? It makes it very hard because that's everybody they know. I mean, we don't live in roofless houses.
Right?
So anyway, yeah, but I like what you're saying too about, it makes you up your game. I like that a lot. So it's open to all. So in the Oklahoma City Metro, business owners can come or not come, and they're all at the same time each month and on the same day each month. So it makes it easy to remember, 11:30 to 1. And then you just, wherever restaurant your chapter is, or that meeting is being held, it's always at that restaurant, so you don't have to remember, now where was it again. And then the format's the same, so you have really streamlined in a short amount of time, um, because it grew so quickly, the format, so they all are the same thing. So you're not going to do something different at a Mustang mix and mingle that you would at a Norman mix and mingle. So let's talk a little bit about the quick growth. How did you navigate that? Because you went from one chapter to 15 in a relatively short amount of time.
We really did, and I've said many times right now, if somebody was to come to me and say, "Here, would you be interested in taking over Mix and Mingle?" I'd be like, "No, no, and no way." There's a lot to this now. But we are very simple, and that's the whole goal. So when we started, we ended up getting to the point, like you're mentioning, the fast growth. Within, we started in March. By February of the next year, we had outgrown the room we were in. The room we were in, we held 35 people comfortably. Remember, we had 38 at the beginning. We never went below 38. So it was always standing room only. Well, in February or so, we had 69 people. I don't know if you were there at that event. We were pouring out the doors. There's no way you couldn't fit that many people in there. And so when we got done with that meeting, I talked to the owners like, well, as you can tell, we've outgrown your space. We're going to have to do something. She said, no, we don't want you to leave. You can take over the whole restaurant and we'll put our regular clientele in the room. I was like, okay, we can do that. And then we had 70, 71. It's like, oh, we're going to have to limit this. And I don't want to limit it. And I really believe it was a God thing that 2 ladies from Midwest City stepped up and said, hey, would you teach us what you're doing? We want to start something like this in Midwest City. And we want to kind of follow what you're doing. It's like, sure. So by the time we sat down on the third time, we were just continuing to grow. And I was like, would you all contemplate the idea of being a mix and mingle? I said, I feel like if you're a mix and mingle, your numbers are going to grow really faster because we have this huge following, but then also it's going to help lighten the load where we're at and we're not going to have to move. And so they did. And then it's like fire took off. We had people from Edmond reach out, we had Yukon reach out, we had somebody Southside reach out. And by October of that year, that was October of 22, we had 13 chapters, 13 chapters all over the place, right? Did we still realize we had anything? Nope. We were just doing our thing. And that's when we started getting phone calls out of state. What's this mix and mingle? What's this mix and mingle? It's like, you know what? We might have something here. We might need to protect this. So that's when we went and talked to a couple different attorneys. We talked to a nonprofit attorney, we talked to a business attorney because we didn't have any money involved. There was no money. And we didn't know it was going to be a thing. So it was not set up that way. So with that, when I talked to the nonprofit, I would have to have stepped out within 6 years because it's a social networking group. And I felt like what we had here was too good to take the chance to maybe have a board that maybe wasn't 100% behind the vision. That would have changed everything. So at that point, March of 23, we trademarked it and LLC'd it for all over the United States. So we seen the vision then that it is like, okay, we're going to go everywhere. But then it's taken us another 2.5 years to get all our ducks in a row. Mind you, we're a grassroots, we're organic. We didn't mean to start this, never done something like this before. We had to figure out what systems and processes do we need to have in place to go bigger,
Hmm.
right? So January of 25, I felt like we were ready. I reached out to a franchise person and her very first thing was, "You're not ready." And I'm like, "You broke my heart." I
Mm-hmm.
feel like we're ready. We've got our systems and processes in place. We have a proven model. What are we missing? Well, let me ask you one question, she says. How much money are you making? Well, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
She says, well, there you go. You can't franchise something that doesn't make money.
Mm-hmm.
I said, okay, well, you've got us because I understand that. And so then when I got off the call with her. I got really serious and did a lot of thinking, but then also I reached out to all of my leaders. We have 56 leaders because every chapter has 4 leaders, minus one chapter has 2 because it doesn't need more because it's a little bit different. So with that, it was let your voice be heard. And any leader that wanted to came and put their voice in. How do we want to move forward? And it was really interesting and so important to have other people's opinions because I had a whole different thought. And when I talked to the group, it changed my whole idea.
Mm.
So that's where the membership opportunity came in. And then we had another meeting to dial it down and really get to the nitty gritty. And so that went into effect August of 25. So we now have free and with a membership opportunity. So you can do both. Our whole goal is to keep the boundaries down. The walls are down.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can come in. It's very easy entry, right? That's what we want because we have a lot of baby businesses, like you mentioned. We have a lot of baby businesses. When I started, I did not know what I was doing. Okay. And most of us don't. We go in with a passion, not knowing what we're really doing. And then when you come to something like the networking like ours, you have such a diverse crowd. You're like, oh, I need a bookkeeper. I need a CPA. I need a banker. I need a financial advisor. Oh my gosh, I had no idea I needed these things. Well, guess what? We have a community of all kinds of those people. So have one to ones, get to know, like, and trust. Who do you want to use? So I just love what has happened with this and the results that we keep hearing. Keep it going because
Mm-hmm.
it is amazing.
And you also do other social and networking events beyond just the chapter meetings
Yes.
once a month. You have conversations over cocktails, you have how to events, uh, ask the
Career
expert,
connections.
career connection. So there's so many different ways to get involved. And the membership price is very reasonable, and it's all about like how much exposure can you expect to have to start to build trust. And so it's good to commit to something. It tells other people in the room that you are actually committed, It means that you're more likely to go to the meetings each month if you have a financial investment in them, and you have more exposure. And it's just that race to positive interactions and the fast tracking by becoming a member, very reasonable monthly amount. That maybe, let's say a 26-year-old is going to start a lawn care business. He can go for free for maybe 6 months, and then he can say, okay, I've been getting business from this. I'm going to go ahead and pay the monthly so that I can have the benefits of the membership. I love that people can come for free with the hope that they'll see that it makes sense to have more exposure on the membership side.
I agree.
If you're just coming for lunch, then you can have lunch anywhere. And if that's what Mix and Mingle is for you, a place where you can have lunch with your business friends, then just continue to be free, and you won't get the results that more exposure will give you, and having one-to-ones and having the list of the people who were there in the room. So all of that is just painting a nice picture of what true networking is. The word work is in networking.
Yes.
What kind of advice would you have for maybe another business owner who wants to start some kind of networking group? I think you would probably have a lot of insights, or what you would have done differently if some business owner has a passion like you about connecting other people in their community.
Well, number one, if that is on purpose what you're trying to do, then I would definitely figure out what does that look like? Is there going to be a cost? Is there not going to be a cost? Because when you start one way, it's very hard to make a change. And we started out free, right? And that's part of the reason we kept our prices so low. I mean, for here in Oklahoma City, it's $20 right now for entry of a maximizer. It is 45 for the highest level. That's nothing compared to what you're getting. So we would have probably looked at that a little bit differently. We didn't know this was going to be a thing. So if you are purposely starting something, look at that. Look at the demographic of who do you want in your group. I highly recommend have it open to everybody, because that means you get to have that many more people come. Now we have some specific groups in our Mix and Mingle. We have an OKC prayer. Well, that's going to pull certain type of people. We also have women in business. Okay. That's going to pull women, but that cuts your group in half, because when you can have everybody, male and female, you have a lot more people to get to come. When you say it's going to be one thing, it lowers that. So think about that too when you go to start a networking group. What are you looking for?
Mm-hmm.
Who is your demographic? Who do you want to help? We have a couple others that are looking at maybe starting a Latino Mix and Mingle, or even what was another one? We've had nonprofits reach out and say, what about a nonprofit Mix and Mingle? But again, when you do that, you're cutting how many people can come. I realize there's lots of women. I realize there's lots of nonprofits. I realize there's lots of Latino. I get that. But think about that when you go to start something. What's your demographic and what are you trying to do?
And how important is it to be consistent?
Oh, yes.
What I love is that the meetings are all at the same time, and the format's the same. So for a new business owner who's wanting to start a networking group, it may be tempting to like chase the new trend and just constantly change the meeting place or how it's formatted, who it's for. So what would you say to that concern?
I would say no, no, no. Because we're people of habit, right? And if people know it's on this day of each month at this time at this place, that's stability. And you don't have to go look and it's like, oh my goodness, I'm not sure where they're having it today. So let me go back on the computer. It's a lot of time and indecision. This way, there's no thinking about it. You know when it's going to be, where it's going to be, the time it's going to be. So it makes it really easy.
Also the format, because the same format makes it easier for others to invite people because they know what's going to happen. And if what's going to happen is always changing, it makes them harder to describe it to their friends and the other business owners.
Very true.
Yeah, and you just want people to feel safe, and that's part of that.
Yes.
And then my one thing about networking meetings, probably my hill I die on, is, Sybil, what do the people in the room need to do when someone new comes in and looks like they're scared and looks like at any second they could just bolt, turn the other way and bolt? What do the people in the room need to do for that person?
Well, they need to say hello and how can I help you? You need to be welcoming. And that's one thing that we pride ourselves on. And that's another thing that we hear a lot of. It is a very friendly environment. It's an environment that's based on the go giver. So when you come to one of ours, you almost always have people at the door welcoming you. And of course, a lot of it is some of your seasoned people that you know, and it's a hug because you become family, right? But then you got people that have never been before, and you can tell their eyes are about as big as 50-cent pieces.
Right.
But their eyes are really big, and you can tell they're new. And so it's always like, "So, I see, have you ever been here before?" And they're like, "No." And I'm like, "How did you find out about us?" And that lets them get to talking, but that also tells us what's working. But then you wanna go through and explain to them what to do. Well, your next thing is you wanna get in line, you wanna order your food. And then you want to go find the QR code, which is on the table, and check in with the QR code. That way, your name, your number, the name of your business, and your email all get on the list that goes out to our attendees that are members. So that way, it's easy access to get a hold of you. And then you mix and mingle until it's time to start. Most of ours are 11:30 to 1, and usually from 11:30 to 12 is your time to order your food, check in with the QR code, find a chair to put your stuff down, and then you stand up and you mingle. When
Mm-hmm.
you stand up and mingle, right, it takes all that pressure off. When you walk into a room and people are seated, how does that make you feel? I
Pressure.
shouldn't have walked in,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's pressure there and you're uncomfortable. When people are standing and they're talking, no big deal. You can mix in, right?
Right.
But it's that welcoming and explaining what's going on. Because sometimes you don't have a buddy. Sometimes you've seen it on, and we've had a lot of people. I seen it on Facebook, so I wanted to come. If they get that friendly welcome and it's about them, how can I help you?
Mm-hmm.
Here's what we do here. So, how can I help you?
Mm-hmm. Or who
You know?
who would you like to meet?
Yeah.
Who can I introduce you to? And then just kind of walk them to the middle of the action and let them be in the middle of the action without ever having realized how they got there, because you have skillfully kept them talking, kept them engaged until now you hand them off beautifully to that roofer that they need to talk to, or that insurance person. Or it
100%.
could just be not so much based on profession, but just, you know, somebody who's really good at talking to nervous people. Like, it doesn't matter what your profession. I need to take this person over to Mary, because Mary is going to just get them all engaged and make them feel welcome and make them feel like she cares about them. So you just kind of have to make a decision as to who do you guide these people to, or who do you bring into the conversation, so that way you can bring someone in and get them talking, and then you can leave and go find the next person that's scared or new, and just kind of do that. I love how when we do ours mix and mingle at our restaurant in Norman, you know, we stay standing for a while. And in fact, the waitresses sometimes they're like, "Where are you sitting?" Because
Mhm.
I don't sit for a while, so they have to come find me, and they're bringing me my tea or whatever, and I have to tell them where I'm sitting, because I'm not sitting until we start. I 100% agree about the energy that happens when people are standing, versus walking right in and sitting down. Because, and the other thing about that is, now you're just stuck with whoever's across from you or next to you. And what if that person's not very conversational? Now you're just like,
Mhm.
oh, this is, yeah, this is every stereotype that I was afraid of. I'm sitting right in the middle of it. So I love that we stay standing, and our leaders are watching the door and getting those people right into the action. So,
Yep, I love that, and I love what you're saying, find out who it is that they need to be connected to, and you go connect them. One thing that's nice, like I said, we have 4 leaders per chapter. So if one leader that's standing at the door needs to grab that person and go connect them, we've got another person right there to take care of the next person that comes that needs to be connected or whatever. I love the fact too that we like to do things family style, right? We don't want me and my three or me and my four at my table. That's not what networking is. Networking is talking to people that you don't know, right? There's nothing wrong with talking to people that you know. That's always great. Talk to them really briefly, and then you start talking to people you don't know, right? So we a lot of times bring our tables together.
Mm.
That way, when you do sit down, like you're talking about, if you sit down with somebody who's not a talker, well, if you have a family table that sits 8 people, well, there's going to be maybe one person here that's not talking, but this one is, this one is, this one is, and this one is. So it makes that uneasiness a whole lot easier. So that's why we do things the way we do. I do want to throw one more thing in there. With ours also, we always have a nonprofit come speak. I think that's really, really important because we not only want to help everybody in the room grow, we want to pay it forward to the community that we serve. We're in all these different towns. There's lots of small nonprofits that are doing amazing things. And a lot of these have such a heart, but they don't have any government assistance. And that is where we as a community can come in and help. If it's something that resonates with our heart, then we may want to volunteer. We may want to bring some needs that they have, like canned goods, whatever the situation be, or maybe even financial, monetary, right? So it just kind of depends. It's all about helping the community, both the business professional and the nonprofits. And we always do it at a mom and pop. That's another awesome thing. We've had great feedback on that. People love the fact that we're helping mom and pops. But you got to think about it. Every one of us business people, what are we? We're mom and pops for the most part, right? It takes a village to raise a child, but it takes a village to grow a business. And that's what we are. We're that village.
100%. Yes. And I have learned so much about nonprofits just from being involved in Mix and Mingle and had no idea how many there were
Hmm.
until I started going to Mix and Mingle. All right, so Sybil, I ask a question to every guest, and this kind of season's question is if you had to tap yourself on the shoulder, your younger self, as you're about to go out into the world and make a difference, what insight would you give yourself?
I would say one thing for sure, don't quit.
Mm.
Don't quit because you don't know what's around that corner. And I have looked at that very strongly with my pros, right? Because pros was in high demand. We started before COVID, and then it took off like crazy during COVID because people understood what we were doing and they needed it. The thing is, people don't realize that they still need it. It's not about COVID. It is about health and wellness. It's about being well so you can live your best life. Well, with that, if I would have quit, I wouldn't be helping the people I'm helping now. But it's been an ebb and flow, ebb and flow, ebb and flow, ebb and flow. That's hard. That is so hard to pay your bills when it's up and down, up and down, up and down. But if you stay with it long enough, people are going to know who you are. And when they need you, they're going to call you. And that has proven true. We're 6 years old with pros, and that is the case. I have calls all the time. And it's because I've planted these seeds throughout the last 6 years. People know what I do. And by networking like I do, that's why I network like I do. Everybody needs to know what we have to offer, and they're going to come when the time is right. They're not going to use me today. They don't need me today. But when they need me, they know what I do and they're going to call me. So don't quit.
Oh, that's excellent. Yes, and the fun thing about your business is that when you stand up, Sybil, and introduce yourself, you get that whole time to talk about Pros Make Ready. So you're talking about Pros Make Ready every meeting you go to, and then you get additional time at the end to talk about anything new Mix and Mingle is doing. uh, it would be tempting to, not talk about Pros Make Ready, but you have decided to talk about that every time. And what I like is that you, during your 1 minute or 30 second, you're not mixing, you're just talking about Pros Make Ready. So that helps us not have to remember too many things.
Little bit of clarity, right?
about you. Yeah, I know. Well, what does she do again? So you're really narrowing on pros make ready, and use your testimonials too. Like use those testimonials of that grandma who's saying, "Yeah, and the daycare doesn't call me as much as they used to." That's, I mean, she just loved that about the difference you were making in her life. I mean, a real tangible difference that someone can
Yeah.
easily understand. Oh, I don't get called away as often because my kid goes to a daycare that puts health and cleanliness as a top priority.
And I appreciate you sharing that nugget because you're so right. A lot of times we forget those testimonies, those stories sell,
Yeah.
right? And they do because they're true. And it's what a difference. So we can all relate when you share a story. So thank you for that reminder.
Oh, you're welcome. All right. Well, where can people find you online for both Mix and Mingle if they happen to be an Oklahoma City business owner and haven't heard about Mix and Mingle, which would be rare, but where can they find the Mix and Mingle information? And then where can they find your Pros Make Ready information in case they want to have you come in to their business or their home for that wellness improvement?
So you can find us on our websites, which is Mix and Mingle Business Networking, or you can go also for the Pros Make Ready sanitizing services. So website, we're on Facebook. We have a Facebook business page for both, but you can also go to my personal page. I post on my personal page, and it's OG Sybil Hale. So original, not original gangster, just original. So those are good places to go. And then it's got our number and stuff like that. I did want to put a little plug in too that we are launching. Yay, yay, yay. We're going to Tulsa, and that launches April 27th. So if anybody from the Oklahoma City metro area knows anybody in Tulsa, we need to start sharing with Tulsa that we are coming up there. We have amazing leaders that are going to be leading that. We've already got 6 people lined up. We got 4 that are going to be the leaders there, but 2 that are additionals. And as that grows, we'll continue to branch off and have more up there. We're starting in Dallas either in May or June. So that's super exciting. And then we plan to go to Florida and to Alabama. So the goal is we want to be in 3 to 5 other places to see if this really takes off like we think it will. And then if it does, then we're going to be all over the United States. So keep an eye out on Mix and Mingle because it's going somewhere and we want you all to be a part of it.
That's so exciting. I'm so proud of you, Sybil, for all the work you've done and for this expansion. It's got to be so exciting for you, especially considering how it started. You
Yes.
know, it's just really wonderful. Thank you so much. And I will link Sybil's websites and the Facebook pages in the show notes. And so, listeners, as you are going out to choose your networking meetings, make sure you're in rooms where people are friendly and welcoming and the meetings are consistently held at the same time. And if you're in Oklahoma City, check out a Mix and Mingle. You can do that through, like I said, the website, or if you're a premium OKC networking member, I have Sybil's Mix and Mingle listings on the calendar that you can also attend. So thanks again, Sybil.
Thank you so much, Faith Ann. I really appreciate you having me.
Oh, you're more than welcome.
You've been listening to the Networkers Tour Guide podcast with Faithann Basore. Share this episode with a friend and be sure to come back next week for more networking tips and tricks from the Networkers Tour Guide.